I wish this was over before our story began. I couldn't stay sober until it all came and went. Intoxicated or are you just toxic? I'm going back, I'm way past being homesick. I'm going out, I really need a win big. A separation from everything that we did. I wish this was over.
All right, hello and welcome to the K-Rad Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Chris with the K, and we are here with the lovely Maddie B, aka the salty one, aka
the salty cracker,
the layer of the bass lines. So, I'm super excited to have you. We've been talking about doing a podcast together for like how long now?
Oh, it's got to be like 6 months, maybe longer. I think 6 months is a good. See, I have issues with podcasts because I usually go on with people and I just I want to take over, you know? I don't let you talk enough. So this will be nice, just the two of us.
That's totally fair.
We can make it if we try.
I can't promise I won't get aggressive and insert myself into the conversations in all of the places. But you are like a lot of things to me, Maddie B. I don't know if you realize that. You are A, bassist, B, second bassist, C, property manager, 3, actually this 3 should be more like A, and I think I just went from A to 3 to 4 because I'm all over the place, but you're also a really close friend of mine, so I'm super excited to have you on.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're our bassist in No Refills, and I'm the guitarist.
It's kind of fun getting an interview from your own bandmate.
Right, I was like,
different change of pace.
Right, we're like, all right, well, we're in the writing phase, so we're like, what can we do?
We've already talked about everything, so we'll just go talk to the people.
Right on. Well, hey, man, why don't you go ahead and for those that aren't familiar with your backstory, why don't you just kind of tell me a little bit about, how you got involved in music, where you came from, just a little bit of your backstory, man.
So with music, growing up, my brother's 2 years older than me, and everything he did, I wanted to do. Right. So he, I must have been in like 5th or 6th grade. He wanted a guitar. He was in 7th or 8th grade, really bad. So of course, I wanted a guitar. So we, for Christmas, my parents both got us an acoustic guitar. We played them for a little bit. He never got into it, but it just kind of took off for me. But I was like, I want something different than this. So I picked up a bass guitar, and that was the last I ever really touched the guitar. I was like, I'm done with this instrument. But yeah, like I grew up playing piano, so the music, the idea of playing was already there. And then through middle school, I was playing trombone a lot, which I still have actually been online a bunch lately trying to find another one to buy because I want to get back to playing. Can just sit there and sight read for days and just jam out on that thing. It's fun.
Dude, when I think trombone, I always think about that one internet video of the dad with the sunglasses and little kid with the
slamming the oven door.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Either that or ska punk. But yeah, that definitely comes from.
But no, that's a big part of it. Playing pop punk, it would be really fun to get another sax player, trumpet player, something like that, put together a ska song just cause, no real reason, just cause it's fun.
Just for the hell of it.
Different style of music that we like listening to.
Right on. So, if I got that right, you actually chose the bass.
Yeah, I wasn't
forced into it like a lot of bassists.
I feel like a lot of bassists, when we're young, you grow up and you're playing guitar with another guy. It's usually two of you, and in order to start a band, one of you goes to bass because you want a bass and a guitar. You don't want just two guitars there. And I think that's often what happens. And it's pretty rare to see guitar players, as they get older, switch over to bass. I feel like it's a sudden thing at that age where you're starting to play with bands.
Right. It's at that younger formative years, I would say.
Whereas as you get older, you do see a lot of bassists kind of become guitarists, which I keep trying to do, and I fail. There's a reason I don't touch a guitar live. Even when we do acoustic sets, I'm playing bass. Because it's natural, it's fun.
Yeah, but I noticed when we write our songs, you're still very acoustic forward. Like when we write our songs, Matt will just pick up an acoustic guitar and like you can play chords,
I can
you can
still
do
play
bar chords, and that's
just,
like your part of the writing process.
Yeah, it's just basic, fun, easy stuff. Get the rhythm down, all the fun notes, and then put it on a loop, and then I can pull out my bass and have fun, jam with it. Write my own lines to that. But yeah, with writing, I think the first thing that comes is putting some lyrics together with an acoustic song. And then we always bring that to the band, and it just grows into something. Like, No Refill song has started with, all right, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to play it, let's go. It's always someone brings an idea in, and we just kind of loosely start interpreting what we want to do with it. And it never turns out like it first sounded. It is always so significantly different. You know, you can hear a couple pieces here and there, but yeah, the songs just really change, and it's the beauty of the writing process. You know, being able to collaborate, and it's part of like I picked up DJing for a while. I was trying to produce some hardstyle, something not very popular here, but I got bored with it because you know I grew up in bands, and I didn't have that social interaction. I couldn't feed off anyone except myself. And sitting there for hours in front of a computer, I couldn't do it anymore. So I only lasted about a year doing that.
No, that's a common thing. What was his name? Avicii. That was one of the things that he struggled with his mental health, was that he was just so isolated.
Yeah, I do feel like it's one of those things.
Yeah, because it's a weird one. DJing is kind of, you're like, I don't even want to say a golfer, you know, and I guess even in sports, like, you're always surrounded by more people, but you know, you're sharing that experience with the crowd and just yourself. There's not like that synergy that you get on stage. It's almost like being an only child as compared to like being a part of a family. It's interesting.
It's exactly what it is.
Right?
Like, being the only child, you have everything there in front of you. Everyone's there for you, not the family.
Right.
Because bands, I mean, that's how we always describe ourselves. You know, we're a family. Once you're in a band long enough, that is your family. You know, you look at them above pretty much anyone else.
Right. Which is why it's fucked up when bands break up all the time, and you're just like, really? Like, you just fired your cousin.
It always hurts, yeah.
Just fired your cousin.
You know, but some breakups are good. They're positive, you know, where people just realize, hey, we're going different directions, you know?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is communication, and, you know, because, I mean, every band's lost members, tried new people out. Like, it just is part of the...
I'm the fourth bassist in No Refills. I mean, Tyler and Adam, they got that project started when they were in high school. So, I mean, that's been going on for at least 10 years now. And, yeah, they've gone through 3 bassists, I think it was, before I joined. And there's a random post on Craigslist that I put up of, like, does anyone want to play not metal? I'm sick of the metal bands in Phoenix. And, like, hey, do your own thing. It's awesome. I'm glad. But, like, pop-punk music was popular when I was in high school. That's what I like to play. That's what I like to live. And they just thought that was funny. So there it goes. Adam sends me a message like, hey, come jam with us sometime. And there you go. No Refills right there.
That's cool.
And then, you know, it took us about 2 years or so to get you on our side.
Yeah, it was a while. He had my eye on me for a while. That was a cool thing though. I mean, you guys were always friends, and you know, going to support you guys was just like the Thursday night thing, or you know, like going over to the was it Starlight Lounge?
Starlight, yeah, we were playing there a lot when we got started. Before they even had a real stage there, it was like, you know, I would bring my own PA in, my practice PA, and we would just kind of almost like just throw together a jam sesh of local bands, and that's kind of what it grew from. That's actually how we met. Chris was up on stage with his band The Unrelated. I think some ads over here, and I scoped him out, and I was like, that dude's playing guitar with me one day. I'm gonna make it happen. And now we're in 2 projects together, which I'm really happy. Buddy Spencer, he's in Fighter. He asked me to play bass just for, you know, live sets, stuff like that, and it's grown into a really fun kind of like, I don't know, it's like it's got a special place in my heart now. That group, it's really changed. Yeah,
right.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, that's really cool to be a part of both projects. And it was funny. I remember I met Spencer at a No Refill show. I remember we had just played, and I think it was the first time we played with you guys. And he approached me after the show. He like in the parking lot. And he was just like, yo, dude. So like, and he had like his mannerisms that he does.
Is that what he does?
Yeah, just a little bit. And he's like, so you want to like, I'm like a rapper, and like this is my name, Fighter. And you know, I was just like, what's happening? What's going on here? And then he's like, well, I'd love to jam sometime, like some music. And I was like, fuck yeah, cool.
All right.
Like how cool that's like punk rock to just come up to a guitarist after a show.
And some people have that personality. I don't. I get off stage and it's like, you know, I'll go put in a little bit of time at the merch booth because you kind of have to. You know, you got to hang out for a little bit, and then it's like, all right, I just want to go do my own thing, listen to these bands, and kind of go into my own zone, which I'm the worst at local shows with that stuff. Like I love putting them together. I love hanging out with the bands. I love meeting everybody. But when it comes to like the actual music going on stage, I just kind of keep to myself, you know, hang out, relax.
You're very chill.
I'm not I'm not the most social individual in those environments.
Yeah, which is funny because you're super extroverted when it comes to everything else. Unless you're high. When you're stoned, it's a
And
different
you don't
story.
really want to talk to anyone.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just gonna sit here and learn. But right on. Well, what is the status of No Refills right now? What's going on with the band?
As if you
the
don't
band
know.
leader?
So we're in writing process right now. We got back from tour in April, and it's prepping for what's next. And honestly, we don't really know what's next. You know, we're printing new merch. We're getting we're doing a music video in the next month or so. We actually are meeting with our director. We got it all storyboarded out, all this fun stuff. And yeah, we're ready to get that going here pretty soon. I think that's really the next release. And then we've got a little acoustic show coming up in June with our buddy Sore Eyes. Sam, he went on tour with us last year, and we kind of wanted to get together, do something special since No Refills is on a break from the live shows. And we decided, hey, let's do like a back-to-back acoustic set. You know, let's just feed off each other's music. We all know it anyway. So, you know, we're going to play some of his songs, some of our songs. That'll be a good show. And then, yeah, in the background, we're just writing. Getting as many songs written and thrown into the trash as we can.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I feel like it should be like that. I think it's smart that we're going into a cycle. It's like, you know, write, work hard, and then show to get ready for a tour, and then you release your work right before your tour, ride that out for as long as you can, and then back into the studio again, different types of promotion, podcast, acoustic vibes, and just like different stuff.
Yeah, just doing things out of the ordinary.
Yeah, and you know what? That's something that I always commended you on, was just how involved you are in the DIY scene. And I see you on a lot of the Facebook groups and contributing a lot to different communities, you know, on social media. And what advice could you give to some DIY bands looking to go on their first tour or just getting into the Arizona scene? Like, you know, what advice could you give them when they're first getting into it?
I think the biggest thing, and I don't know how many times I've said this on some kind of podcast, is don't get discouraged when there's two people watching your band on tour. It's going to happen. You're going to, like, if you're in the DIY scene, you're playing a Wednesday night, there might only be a couple people listening to you, but hey, play the same show. Because they're there to see you. They're not there to watch you play, you know, oh, there's 5 people, I'm just going to kind of relax and, you know, do a half-ass set. Play it as if there's, you know, 500 people there. Because it makes those big shows a lot more special. And, I mean, I've been doing the DIY tours for a while, the DIY shows, and some of them are fantastic. Some of them blow you away, and you walk off the stage and you're just like, holy crap, like that was special. You know, like I'm going to feel that for a while. And other times you go up, you're like, hey, there's not a lot of people here. Let's have fun with it. You know, let's get them involved. Let's make sure they're having a good time so that, you know, next time some band comes through that they're interested in, they're going to go see them, not think, you know, I went to go see No Refills and, you know, there was only a couple people there and they, you know, they just didn't want to play. They didn't look like they were having fun. Which leads into, I guess, that number one thing is just have fun with it. That's the whole reason we're playing music. Like,
right.
Yeah, you know, I do a lot of business stuff in the background. I'm there doing a lot of like side work, but at the end of the day, we do it to have fun. We enjoy it.
Yeah, that's key. I mean, you got to love what you do. And, you know, if you're taking time away from your family or taking time away from your friends, you know, to go out and do this, you know, it better be important. You know, you better freaking like it. Otherwise, like, what are you doing?
The thing is, if you're having fun, you're enjoying it, the people around you are going to have fun and enjoy it. They feed off of you. That's what you're there for. Like when you're on tour, you're meeting people, they have no idea who you are. Most of the time they're there to see, you know, their friend's band, and you just want to make an impression, hang out with them, you know, enjoy it. And then next time you come back through, they're going to come and hang out with you. And, you know, it makes it that much more special. Like our last tour, we played a couple shows where we had people come out that we didn't remember meeting on our last tour. And they came out like so excited to see us again. They were happy about the new music, everything like that. And nothing feels better as a musician than someone who barely knows you to come back and, you know, come watch a show that is in the middle of nowhere to you. Yeah, it's just like a special moment there, a special connection that you can make.
No, it is cool. And I feel like it's just a form of escapism. And I think that everyone has their thing that they use to, take a break from reality and, go do something that they just love to do. And whether it's, a band, performing, whether you like to perform, whether it's, being a comedian, whether it's just going to the shows and just using that and being a part of it, I think that's so important, in society and just in general to be a human. You need to have that escape. And for a lot of people, it's video games. And for, other people, it's this. And
I think comedy, it'd be watching movies, doing this, doing that, whatever they're filling their time with.
Right. And I think that the more people involved in the live scene, the better, because that's at the forefront of, freedom of speech, at the forefront of, nothing that's influenced by, outside forces, for the most part. Obviously depends where you go, but that's what's really cool about the DIY scene too, and podcasts, that it's like this platform, and when you're out there, like there's no other medium like that. Everything else back in the day, was controlled by corporations or ads and sponsors and all of that. So it's like we have the ultimate freedom, similar to.
And that's what's so special about the DIY scene is people contribute to it in so many different ways. I have Unhooked Events going on where I get local bands to come play shows, and sometimes we'll have art installations going on. I'm trying to put together a show here soon that's going to have comedy mixed in with it. Finally
Lucky.
Break through with some stand-up I've been dying to do. Been dying to embarrass myself on stage with some of that, because I think I'm hilarious, but we'll see what other people think. But yeah, the DIY scene, it thrives off of people getting out of their scene and going to visit other ones and then inviting them back and, kind of almost like feeding off each other, trading. Like, hey, I know you're really into this band. I'm going to come watch them with you and hang out. Do you want to come to this really cool art show I'm going to? Come watch these, these oil painters, whatever it is. And without those types of interactions, the DIY scene doesn't exist. If you can't promote it off of each other, then there's no way to get involved. And that's where you're stuck going through, local promoters, things like that. And you can get kind of stuck in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's the difficult part, is because trying to figure out, hey, how can I do what I love doing, but also get paid in some way so that I could sustain this. And even if it's something that you can't do full time, it's still such a cool thing to be a part of. But I think the ultimate goal is to do it full time, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's goal in life is to turn their hobby into a career, to make money off of the thing that they love doing. But at the same time, I just like doing it. Like I will keep enjoying it even if I'm not making the money off it. I mean, the amount of money since I was a kid playing music that I've thrown into bands and equipment and getting to shows and all of that.
Right.
I mean, it's priceless. I would never take anything away, but it would feel good to start seeing some of that come back my way. Yeah. It wouldn't take much for me to quit my day job and start just doing that full time. I think that's what everyone wants out of it.
Yeah, for sure. What were some of your favorite moments for being on tour? Because that was the longest tour you've been on, right?
Yeah, the longest one so far. More to come, of course. I think it was just all the shit talking in the car, honestly. So we practice several times a week. We're together all the time, but you stick 4 dudes in a car together for a couple weeks and some shit's gonna happen. You're gonna argue, you're gonna fight. A pair of headphones comes in handy when that's happening, but
Lord,
we also embrace it in this band. We love just taking the piss out of each other, just making fun of each other and joking around about it. Because at the end of the day, everyone gets it's a joke. But I would definitely say the time in the car with my bandmates is always the most special part, because it's a bond that it's never gonna break. It's always gonna be there.
Right.
It's a special relationship.
Hashtag solidarity.
Solidarity.
God. Why don't you can you explain that to people, what that means, solidarity?
So one of the first jokes that started on tour was, "Where's the trailer?" And every time we would leave a place, we had the trailer hitched onto the back of the car, and someone would always be like, "Oh shit, the trailer's missing. We forgot to load it in. All our equipment's gone. It's back in California. Crap, what are we gonna do?" And then that turned into us getting really excited every time we saw a U-Haul, just a U-Haul, like the trailers. We would get really excited to the point where there was this one time. So we're in LA outside of a venue parking, and there's this guy at a red light parked, and we make eye contact. I'm in the driver's seat with the trailer on the back, and I'm just like, solidarity, just yelling it out the window. And he goes right back, and it doesn't skip a beat, just like, solidarity, brother. And just that random interaction there then continued for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much anytime a trailer passed us or anyone was moving, I was just like...
Solidarity.
So like lots of, families traveling were very confused.
Oh,
But-
yeah. I mean, they were either really excited or they thought we were just angry yelling at them with road rage, but that's all fun. Either way.
That's awesome. What, oh God. What do you think was one of like the best shows in your... Or like, what was one of your favorite shows from the 10 days? Like, what was your favorite city?
Whew. So that's a hard one. It's really hard to pick favorites. I think Seattle, our show in Seattle was very special to me after living there for a couple of years. My wife's from there, being able to meet up with some old friends and everything like that. It was a unique experience being on tour in what felt like my hometown. I lived there long enough that I felt like I was at home, but I wasn't. I didn't belong there. I was dirty and on tour and, in just complete tour mode. It was different. It was like seeing a different side of Seattle almost, seeing it from a different point of view than the 9-to-5 worker who lives there and is, that's their
Right,
hometown.
like mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
I caught a fish.
You did.
I caught a fish.
You caught a fish. I was really excited when I got that on camera too.
That was like one of my favorite moments. God, that meant
What was
so
it? Because
much.
you started talking about the Seahawks with the guy over at Pike's Market. He just throws the fish
it's
at
a
you.
thing.
Yeah.
So there's the Pike's Market in Seattle, Washington, and before every Seahawks game, that's just like a part of the B-roll footage, is like this dude that is chucking
They
fish.
throw it to people walking by.
No. Well,
that's what it looks
it's just
like.
between the workers, right? So usually it's just the worker people.
Oh, that's
And
right. Yeah, they don't throw it at people.
Usually, like, they've done it before, but most of the time it's just between the workers just tossing fish back and forth, and then they talk about Seattle football back and forth the whole time. And when I saw someone walk by and get freaked out from the fish, I was like, you should have thrown the fish at her. And he was like, da da da. And I was like, you can throw the fish to me. And I just, like, very selfishly got myself in the position to catch the fish, and then I caught the fish.
Oh my God, he yelled something at me from across the way.
That's what they do.
I think he was making fun of me for being skinny, which,
It's
like,
like-
all to you, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But it was something about that.
It's what they do. But I love Seattle.
Good old Seattle. I always have fun up there because I'm a big
Seattle.
Cardinals fan. And that rivalry is, I think we think it's more of a rivalry than the Seahawks see it. But it's always fun, especially in my household.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Having a wife who's a Seahawks fan, being a Cardinals fan, it's just, it's a lot of fun.
I mean, it's got to be rough when you just know going into it that you're going to get your ass kicked. So
Yeah, Right now, I'm not going to fight that. We'll see what happens here.
no, but cool, man. Well, hey, I had a quick question too. Just kind of going back to the whole DIY scene.
Yeah.
What do you wish that you had known when you first started?
Don't be afraid of no. It took me until I started marketing, unfortunately for timeshare, but when I started marketing, I realized how it felt to be told no, and like repeatedly, and I finally realized like, oh, this is fine. Like, I can get used to this. It's okay. Because you're gonna have to contact 10 people, hear 8 people, say that they're too busy to help work with you, or hear bands that are not going to be able to support you on that show, and they'll be like, hey, we'll hit you up next time. You have to be willing to accept that people are gonna decline, helping you out here and there and being part of that scene, even because that scene thrives on helping each other out. Hey, you have my back on this show, I'll cover you on the next one, kind of
Right.
thing. And I just wish I understood starting out that, hey, there's going to be a lot of people that they don't care about you. They want to do their own thing and keep moving forward, and it'll catch up to them one day when you've got your feet set a little bit more secure and they need help. Then all of a sudden they're going to realize, oh crap, that band that needed help a year ago for that one show, now all of a sudden they're not inviting me to come play shows with them.
Right.
Which is also something I try to avoid. There's a lot of burning bridges. You hear it all the time where a band will piss off a promoter or a venue, something like that, and then things happen, but they'll stop. They'll just completely drop out of the scene because of it. One bad relationship can ruin a band, a local small band.
That's true.
And yeah, that's another big part of that scene. You just gotta kind of roll with it at all times.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is something unique to the pop punk scene, because I can't speak for heavy metal scenes, because I've just never been involved as a musician on that side, but it seems like your fans become friends become fans, and it's really organic. It's almost like pop punk specifically, especially like you look at A Day to Remember.
I think that's any scene. I think really,
I don't know,
when you get people involved, they want to be there all the time and around you. But I do think our scene, it does have something special with it, where people are a little bit more involved because it's a little bit more welcoming. You know, pop punk, there's a lot of nerds, there's a lot of geeks, there's people who are listening to that and enjoying the music who don't normally go out to shows. So I think that builds a relationship that most scenes don't have. I think you're right there. But every group of, there's a couple metal bands that'll play together often. They're gonna have their clique that's in there and hanging out as well.
Solidarity. You're right.
But I think you're right that with the pop punk scene, it's a little different. And I think it's just because there's so many of us nerdy people that are still getting down to what we loved in high school, and we're totally okay with people don't like it nowadays. So that's fine,
Right.
It's not what's popular. Right now, we had emo kids listening to our music. We had like Hawthorne Heights, all that stuff going on, and that's turned to emo rap, which, hey, to each their own. I'm glad that it's still getting represented, but there's that part of me that's like, emo kids, please come back. Please come back to rock music. Right. This is more fun. I promise you.
Right. Well, I mean, SoundCloud rappers and face tattoos, have a lot to do with that. But no, man, I mean, I feel like that's just the progression, of, just society, and just music. It's people are always pushing the envelope, and, a lot of people went to electronic music, and then you see that sort of die out, and then you see this blending, of different genres. And I think that's been cool to see, like, even though it's taken away fans from, pop punk or from, traditional music, I think that it's still good for music in general, because people want to hear new shit. People want to hear something that their brain's never heard before. They want to be like, what the hell is that?
I was talking to one of my buddies about that recently, and they were saying, like, music's always changing. Even the same 4 chords are not the same 4 chords they were 10 years ago. They sound different. They're played on different instruments with different beats behind them. And like, I get irritated with musicians who are like, oh, everything's already been written. It's like, no, you can rewrite similar things, make it yours, put your own. I mean, look at like dubstep, for example. There's only so much you can do as far as different chord progressions, stuff like that. This is for the dance music people. I know Andrew was listening here earlier talking about Cox on Facebook.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, you can do so many different aggressive sounds and things with it, where it's like, okay, you can take that chord progression and make it your own, make it something special. And I think a lot of musicians that have turned over to EDM lately are in that struggle right now of making something new. Whereas being in a band, you've got, 3-4 other guys trying to do the same thing that you can feed off of. It takes 1 or 2 little notes to change, and all of a sudden you have a completely different sound, a different song.
Right.
And yeah, and it's something special. And that goes back to producing, music when you're on your own. It's hard because you don't have that.
Right. I don't know. I think that a lot of it has to do with recording too, and it's like who you're working with, where you're getting your sounds from, your loops, and I think that's a hard thing to break in the Phoenix scene specifically. There's a very short list of really talented producers to work with. There's great, studios, and there's great equipment everywhere, but the actual maestro, I feel like there's a shortage here. There's a short list as compared to places like LA or New York or Nashville or someplace like that. But at the same time, I think that there's still a lot of room to grow, and I think that because of the nature of the scene and the history here in Phoenix, I think that still has a lot of potential, and I think that there are some really cool bands still coming out of Phoenix, and I think that it's still a staple, in this scene. Like, how many great bands have come from Arizona?
Yeah, in Arizona, I mean, playing here. I mean, I grew up in Phoenix. I went to high school out here, and then I moved to California my senior year of high school. So, like, as I was becoming an adult, I left everything I knew, and I went and experienced, LA. I got to see the music scene there. I got to see what was going on in Seattle. I even got to see Sydney for a little while when I was producing over there. Nothing's like Phoenix, though. It's unique. It's weird. It's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the music.
With the lovely Matty B, bassist of No Refills, fighter, and owner of Unhooked Promotions. Is that right?
I think technically Unhooked Events
Unhooked Events
is what we go by, but it started as Unhooked Promotions.
Right on.
And then I went from being what I thought was, a promoter to like, no, I just host events. And
Right.
I don't make money off that company. It's for the bands, it's I don't know how most promoters do it, but like I work nonprofit. I'm there where I want the bands to be paid for the music that they're coming out with, that people are enjoying. And it's all too often that I see specifically younger bands, but bands they get almost tricked into all these pay to play schemes. These, hey, sell me 20 tickets and I'll give you a 20-minute slot here. Or, go do this, go do that. And they don't see any of the money off that. Like they might make $50, but like they just sold 20, that's like $200 that they're bringing in. Why are they getting 50? And so I'm very careful about that. I specifically, I book places where I know bands can make money. And
Right.
if, I have a new band who I haven't seen on stage, or I haven't, maybe I've only heard their music. I haven't actually gone out and met them yet. I'm okay with throwing them on a show, because worst case scenario, they just don't make money. They
Right.
get to play in front of people, have a good time. You get to meet people, but at the end of the day, no one really loses when you do things that way.
Mm-hmm. No, I always thought it was weird. I remember one of our shows, I think we brought in like 35, 40 people, and I think our payout was like $50, and I was just like,
it's like demeaning.
Huh.
It just feels bad.
huh, interesting. But right on. Well, dude, I commend you for all the work that you do on the business side of things. I think that's really cool. As well as just being an awesome bassist. So kudos to you.
I do what I can to be
know,
transparent and keep things going.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, too, tell the people how fucking cool you are with your band before that you opened up. What was it, Hawthorne Heights? And you were playing.
Oh,
with,
yeah,
like,
we
you were
gotta
in
we gotta
the
play
scene.
some fun shows. So
I imagine Matty B with guy liner and blonde hair. emo
there's some
style.
bad photos of the whole bird's nest going up.
Right.
There's some funny shit back there if you dig. But yeah, I mean, I don't like to name drop very often. I'm not really big on talking about, what bands I've played with and, played sold out shows here and there and what I've done. But, I'll point out two of them that were kind of special.
Yeah.
One of them was with Hawthorne Heights, because growing up listening to them, Ohio is for Lovers and, Nicky FM, these songs that I loved growing up.
Right.
They brought me into the emo scene. And being able to play right before them at the Key Club, which was my dream. Coming from Phoenix, my dream was to play the Key Club in LA. Like I that was something I had to do, and I got to do it when I was 21. Like I don't think many people
cool.
can actually live out. Maybe I could have put my dreams a little higher up there, so sure. But that was something I wanted to do. But getting off that stage that night and running into JT and him just being like, "Yo, it is so nice to be playing with a band that I enjoy." That I can sit here and the audience is excited about you guys. They're singing your lyrics, they're having fun, and I get to go play into that now. And hearing that from someone that I look up to, growing up, like, he's one of my heroes there, and like, yeah, it was special. So that was really fun. And then, I'll be quick with the other one. Playing with the Story so far, I got to do a couple times when they were, really getting big, mm-hmm. and their fans are so different. They're like the nicest moshers ever is how I would describe it. Like they're all looking out for each other, but they're pushing each other around. They're having a blast. And I was playing on a stage that it was only like a foot tall. It was a small stage, and they had security standing in front of me on the monitors and everything, holding people off because it's so packed in there that everyone's falling on the stage, like on top of you and stuff, and piling on you, and stage diving, stuff like that.
That's sick.
And it was so fun to be a part of that, because I've always been in bands that, we didn't have those heavy breakdowns. We didn't have those moments where it was like, hey, build the wall. Let's go. Let's everyone wall of death time. Like, we didn't do that. So it was cool to be part of it for once. And getting off that stage, similar with Hawthorne Heights, looked out the front doors as, people are going out to smoke their cigarettes between bands. And the steam just coming off of everyone, going off. And it's LA in the summer. It's hot outside.
Right.
But it's so much hotter indoors from everyone having fun. There's steam coming out of the doors with everyone. It was crazy. Really, really fun stuff.
That's gnarly.
So yeah, those are two that definitely have stuck out over other shows I've been able to do.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool. I feel like that's got to be every musician's dream, is to play sold out shows for the
bands that you like.
Yeah, either that or like being welcomed into being a member of said band. They're like, oh well, so and so just passed on. So you the kid with the can you have you ever seen those videos?
Hey, come up and play.
Come
those.
up here and play a song. I feel like
that kid that played with
planted.
Dave Grohl, right?
Don't you think those are, that's gotta be planted? No, I think there's a conspiracy.
It's too good to
These
be
kids
planned, though.
That are just in the crowd. They're like, oh yeah, man, come on, one song. But like, who knows? Maybe it's legit.
What if it went the other way? What if you went up there and it just sucked? And everyone just stood there and was like, "Oh crap!" I guess sound guy would have to just turn the amp off.
Did you hear?
So they come in handy.
It happened at I think it was a Kendrick Lamar show, and I think he invited like a white kid on.
Oh yeah.
And one of the lyrics says the N-word, and the kid said the word.
Oh, he didn't just freeze because I'd freeze. I'd be like,
Yeah. Well, like I feel okay. So that's one of those gray zones as a white dude where you're like, it's in the music. And if you're alone in your car, you gonna say that? You might say that word. Might be all right.
You've noticed this from me.
But
and anyone who's seen a band that I'm in live that I sing in can say, I don't always sing the right words to the songs. I love making up my own lyrics, like just something similar. When I'm singing along to music like that, where there's words I don't know or I don't want to say, just make up my own, kind of go with it.
Yeah.
Kind of, a little bit of improv here and there.
I mean, that's what they should have done. I feel like they were just so like in the moment, like fucking Kendrick Lamar and
you almost don't want to and you don't want to change his lyrics on stage. Like you don't want to make it yours.
Well, I feel like that was the worst. He's like, I don't want to offend him, so I'm just gonna go for it. But shit, I just offended him and like millions of people.
Everyone's pissed at me. Awful. Now I'm gonna be a meme.
Yeah. Dude, memes are mean.
I love them. If you guys want to meme me, go for it.
I'm gonna remember that. Maybe some Matty B memes.
I have some good photos hidden too. Some good hidden refills
one
photos.
Picture. That's your contact ID when you call me. Matt looks like he's in a different dimension. He is just like, it's hilarious. I think it should be
the singing goat face.
I want a shirt of that face.
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah. Well, I want to do a little bit of a mini segment, and it's called Rad Reddits. And it's just something that I was scouring through Reddit, and I thought was pretty rad. So in Futurology subreddit, there is this company that's making 3D printed rockets.
Rockets.
Like space travel.
Like to go to the moon rockets, or like, rockets just have fun with and shoot them up kind of thing.
Like rockets for space exploration and all kinds of different
crazy that like a small company can do that now.
Yeah, well, with VC funding, I mean,
like that. Yeah, that type of stuff is possible now. 3D printing is incredible. Like they're out there making hearts and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. It's stuff that it's just far beyond me.
Isn't that crazy? Like I feel like one day they're gonna just be able to 3D print a car or 3D print anything. Like you could just, I'd like a 1960s Les Paul. 3D print that for me.
Oh, I remember reading there was a
I wonder if it'd be cheap.
3D printed gun someone tried to take on a flight recently because it was like plastic.
That's terrifying.
So yeah, let's not do that with 3D printing, but let's do nice things. Making hearts, that's good.
Yeah. No, actually, I remember that specifically. There was
it was an interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it was made out of plastic, and
I think
it was like, well, how do you regulate this if someone buys it? Because obviously there's the gun registry, and you got to go through verifications. Like, well, what the fuck do you do if someone just prints it off in their garage?
Yeah, exactly. They're able to do that now. We have the technology. We can rebuild them.
It's a brave new world, my friends. We're growing organs and 3D printing rocket ships. So I thought that was.
I saw today. I think it was in South Africa. Doctor just successfully, basically cured deafness for someone with some new implant that he put in. Someone who's been deaf their whole life.
See, I've been banking on that for a long time.
Isn't that crazy? Like, oh man, like now I don't feel so bad when I forget my earplugs.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I was banking on.
Yeah, they'll just fix me later.
Do you think they'll get to the point where the whole... Because, I mean, people say that the earplugs that you wear don't affect the sound. But whenever I wear those things, it always...
They do.
Yeah.
They always
It's
will.
never the same. I can't hear nearly as crisp. And I feel like it affects my playing. And maybe that's just because I'm not used to playing with it as much. But I'm hoping that one day they'll have something that can actually just without affecting the crispness and all of that.
Closest thing we've got are in-ear monitors where you basically get the same mix that's going to the front of the house that you're playing at before the sound guy starts messing with it.
Right.
That's as close as you can get to a sound without blocking it. And yeah, I mean, when you put earplugs in, it sounds different. Very, very different to you. It took me months trying to sing and have earplugs in at the same time because the playing along with it wasn't so hard, but being able to hit the same notes and hear the right notes in my head, it was hard with earplugs. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on good ones. You have to like reteach yourself how to sing almost.
Right. But because there's that weird, like, it's almost like you're underwater a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, everything's just muffled a little.
Yeah, muffled. So, yeah.
Even when they make good ones, like those Heroes, and I notice they have a different one out now, but like, fantastic. They work, but it sounds different.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to admit that.
Agreed. And we've got one more rad Reddit that's actually not so rad. It's actually a dystopian nightmare.
Dystopian fiction is my favorite thing ever.
Okay.
So this is perfect.
What do you think of in China, there is a social credit score now. And apparently it excludes you from well-paid jobs. It excludes you from being able to get a car loan.
So if you're a dickhead, you can't get a car.
No, not if you're a dickhead. It's just it's like really arbitrary.
Like social status.
Yeah, social status.
Okay. I thought you meant like socially. Like, hey, if you're awkward and mean, no, we're not going to sell you the scooter.
Right. Well, because it's more messed up than that. Because like they have that in North Korea apparently, where they go through like an interview process with you, and like if your family was like fought against the North Koreans, for the South Koreans, in their civil war, then like you're super low. Like you won't be able to like live anywhere near the city and like blah blah blah. Like there's this whole like ranking system, and you don't know what your score is. And the only way that it improves is when you report people for doing misdeeds. So like if you report someone for like if you see someone like not obliging by like the state's rules.
Hey, my neighbor stole my other neighbor's tomatoes.
Shit like that.
Give me 10 points.
Yeah, exactly. And then
it's like the opposite of the game that you play in the car of, hey, if I hit this biker, how many points do I get?
Yeah, no, it's messed up. And then they don't know their score, so then people are just going to be influenced to like tell on people, but then it's like, all right, so then people are going to be raising the score, they're treated like a game, they're just going to get out of hand.
Then it basically becomes Yelp, where you only really talk about stuff when you're pissed off. How many people go online and want to put down good reviews? It's like, oh no, I'm pissed off at this place.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like the percentage of people that actually leave nice reviews as compared to the negative reviews is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I try to go out of my way when, this is kind of going way out there, but when I'm pissed off at an establishment, like I had this place where I got upset with the valet parking. Something stupid. It was this dumb thing that happened. I'm not going to go trash you on Yelp and make people think that you're this awful business. Like, no, I'll send you, this is the most I'll do. I sent the owner an email and was just like, hey, this is what happened. I was pretty pissed off. I just feel like you should be aware of what your staff did. I don't want to blast you online or anything. And, he thanked me and was like, hey, come back. And
what did he do? Did he park your car naked? And he gets butt cheeks on your seat.
So he asked me to repark my car, which, okay, fair enough. You're in valet, you're setting up. Maybe you need this row. And he said, park in the row in front of you. And I was like, okay, cool. Park my car in front. I get out and he starts laughing at me. Some kid just laughing at me. And he's like, no, I mean the spot next to that. I was like, I'm not reparking my car a second time. I'm too stubborn for that. So I just, I don't want to cause a scene. I'm like, hey, wife, come. We're going to go. She's like, what the hell? What are you doing? I'm like, we're just going to go next door because I'm mad at this place.
So he wanted you to repark. He told you to park your own car.
And it could very much be I'm an idiot and just didn't realize he was pointing at a specific spot. It very well could be, but in my eyes, looking at it, he was like, yeah, just pull forward, which means any spot forward in my eyes. But
right. It's not like there's
the miscommunication was enough to upset me, and then I went and had a great happy hour next door.
Lost that on your patron. Well, hey, I want to get your thoughts, or what's your opinion on Endgame?
Oh man, I want to Tom Holland it right now and just be like, boom. But I feel like it's almost too early to still talk about too much.
But I don't care as much. I know that doesn't.
So like we know this well. Like I'm a big nerd. I'm very into comic books, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, a huge Marvel fan. I love DC. I really want to continue loving them, but please, guys, get Zack Snyder out of there. Let's do something new. It was special for me, growing up. All that was on my mind the whole movie was, how are they going to pull this off without the X-Men? Because I knowing what is supposed to happen through Infinity Wars and Secret Wars and all this stuff, I'm like, there's a big chunk of the cast missing. How are they? What are they going to do? How are they going to make up for it? And it was beautiful. I mean, they make you cry, they make you laugh, they make you get right on the edge of your seat, like, oh shit, what's going to happen? My favorite thing about Infinity War is they make you care about Thanos. Like you genuinely agree with him almost. You're like, I kind of get where this guy is coming from. Yeah, he's a little bit crazy, and I'm gonna wipe out half the population. But hearing his side of it, it's like, okay, I see you're trying to do it for the better. I don't like this. Don't kill people, but okay. And comic books specifically, I love when you can agree with the villain. Because nothing beats a good villain. They say the hero's only as good as the villain, right? That's the big quote there. And it's you need that solid, good villain who's just like you can almost agree with and feel for. Because nothing's scarier than the audience agreeing with the villain. Like that's when things get really intense there.
Right. I can totally agree with that. I feel like that's just really good character development. And I think in anything, like almost one of my favorite villains was Tom Hardy in The Revenant. Mm-hmm. And I think there was less of that, okay, I see where this guy's coming from, but like you truly just fucking hated that guy. And you were just
then there's stuff like that.
It's like that they've done their job as the villain. And I think that they captured that. Dude, I hate Thanos, but I also do see a little bit of where he's coming from. Less of that for me because I didn't read the comic and I just kind of like breeze over it. But
some of them I cheated. My wife has this wonderful stack of comic books. We've donated many of them since, but that I got to read through once we came back over to the U.S. When we moved here, and I got to touch up on some of the comics like the Wolverine origins and the Deadpool origins. So Deadpool was one character I just never got into. There's no reason I didn't get into him. I just didn't really care about guns. I was a Wolverine fan. I liked the knives and everything. Obviously huge into Batman and everything, but Deadpool was one I never really cared about. And then I read his books and was like, oh, holy shit, this is cool. And then, literally a month later, they announced the movie coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, I just caught up on this character. Now I get to go see him on the big screen. This is going to be fun. He's going to talk to us.
Dude, Ryan
he's the only one who breaks that wall there. He's such
a perfect character. He's such a perfect person to play that character, too.
And Facebook's going to die here. You guys are at 10%. I apologize.
Let it die. The Zuck will live.
You'll be with us till the end, and then hey, one day I'll just finger snap. You'll be gone.
The Zuck will live. But no.
Yeah, talking about movies without spoiling them for the people is very, very hard.
I'd say fucking spoil it, man. I think we're to the point where, because I haven't seen it yet, but I don't care, and I think by the time I edit this, to the point of
I think it'll be far enough out.
It'll probably be far enough in advance where it won't matter.
All right, let's just say this: Facebook. If you have not seen this movie, then please just turn this off for about a minute.
Okay, talk to me.
Watching.
Talk to me.
So
I know.
The most intense part of Infinity War is seeing Spider-Man and Iron Man. Watching the I don't want to go. The most Spider-Man thing ever. The bitchy I don't want to die statement. And then seeing them on the screen again together was just this magical. I mean, there was people behind me. You could hear the nose blowing through the Kleenex and stuff. Was this really special moment of, hey, this kid's gonna take phase 4 and he's gonna keep going with it, even though, and I don't want to ruin the biggest that big part of the movie, but seeing that was really special. Seeing all these characters who, yeah, most of us knew they were coming back, but seeing them come back in the way that they do it was unique. Right. It was fun. It was. I think the biggest issue with our generation is we get really upset when movies don't go the way we want them to go. We make up all these ideas in our heads. We watch trailers. We watch all the shorts. We watch actors talking about the movies, how they get excited getting ready for the parts, and we make up our own story in our head. And as soon as the story is not that, we trash it. We're like, oh, it was awful. It was this was wrong. This was wrong. And me, part about movies. I love expectations. I love going into a movie thinking this is going to happen. I want to see this. I want to see that. But I don't get upset when it doesn't happen. I embrace what direction they do go because I'm happy when I'm not right. I don't want to go to a movie and, oh, this is exactly what I thought. That's not fun. Like, no, change the story around. Throw me a couple curveballs there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Which Detective Pikachu does beautifully.
Okay, because you saw that, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, every movie pretty much when they slowly get released, I'm out there every weekend watching one of them.
I'm just glad that we're finally out of the days when... Do you remember when you would see a trailer and they would only put the best parts and like all the punchlines to the best parts in the trailer?
I feel like we are getting away from that.
I'm so thankful for that.
I mean,
I remember as a kid, you'd be like, "Oh man, like this movie looks awesome! Like, didn't you see that? And you see this? And blah blah, looks so funny." And then you go there and like those are the best parts of the movie, and you're like,
you know, my favorite,
like I've already seen this.
My favorite thing is when trailers. You go to a movie after seeing these trailers that are great, and then every single scene you saw in that trailer is done after the first like 10 minutes of the film. And you're like, shit, I don't know what to do now. Like, I have no expectation. Everything that I saw and I thought this movie was going to be is already past. Like, this is all new moving forward. A Quiet Place did that. They didn't really release a whole lot in their trailers, and it is exciting when a movie can do that and then just kind of, you know, I think that really flew in under the radar. But that movie was fantastic. It's a good one.
What was it called?
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. I don't think I've seen that one.
Definitely check it out.
Check it out.
It's worth the time.
All right.
One of the few good horror movies that have come out recently. That's not just fun for the nostalgia.
What's the premise? Like, what's it about?
You can't make sound or these monsters are going to fucking eat you.
Oh, wait, I did see that.
Yeah, it's cool.
I did see that. That's where like they're escaping or not.
It's not like Signs in a way where it's a mystery. You know that there's something bad out there. And that they're hiding it from you, but like they don't give you like crazy action the whole time or throw you into a story. Like they make you think, they make you enjoy it.
John
Krasinski. And we don't get that a lot now.
Yeah, Jim. I love Jim.
I'm glad he's getting involved outside of The Office. I hate when people get involved in a role and they can't escape it. You know.
Yeah. Like
that happens to so many good actors. Yeah, where they're just seen it like McLovin. Well, I'm sorry, you're McLovin for a long time until you can outgrow that role. He's kind of stuck there.
Michael Cera though,
Michael Cera's one of them. Well, have you heard his music? He's got like this like side project music going. He's been slowly. It's kind of like almost like Postal Service. I want to say it's interesting, but he actually came out in this interview and was talking about how he's sick and tired of being that guy. You know, that nerdy. Weird guy in the background.
Same person in every role.
Yeah, he's the same. He found this little.
God, what was that? The music.
This is the end. Oh, okay. This is the end. He plays himself. It's hilarious.
No. Where he was a musician, and it was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott. Yeah.
Did you ever see those?
Well, he still is playing Michael Cera, but
the movies themselves.
I love that story. So yeah.
I loved those movies, and that's cool. It kind of could totally. I could see that. Him just actually being a musician. What does he play? Do you know?
I actually don't. It was like it's maybe a keyboard.
Maybe the keys.
Because there were some synths going on.
Vibes.
I could see him being a keyboardist, you know.
Totally. But do you see that? It's Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp. And I think it's Steven Tyler is the third one, or the guitarist for another band. They're like the Vampires of Rock. They just came into town, and it was pretty cool. Like I get it. It's like old guy. Like Can you just talk for a second about the guys that are still putting the foot forward? You know, way past their prime. Like
just still going at it. Like I love this. I don't want to stop.
Well, and you know what? Because you're like, fuck yeah, man. Like keep doing it. Like my dad saw Willie Nelson last week, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, it's Willie.
I used to get Willie Nelson and Woody Harrelson mixed up.
No.
Yeah, I used to really bad.
I could see that.
It was just the names. I could always picture the two, but
right.
That would be an interesting show to go to. Go see how. I mean,
well, for him too, because it was like their hits were like back in the day. You know, it was like he was like innovative. Like, have you ever seen pictures of Willie Nelson of like when he first started versus how we know him now?
It's crazy to look at that type of stuff. Yeah.
Well, because he was like full on night. Like he looked like he was a poster boy for like clean cut and, you know, wearing a suit playing. And then fast forward 20 years, he's like on the forefront of like weed legalization, like hippie, long hair.
It kind of reminds me of Sublime with Rome, Rome. I saw their first show with him in California when he first joined the band. They played Smokeout Festival. Big surprise,
Right?
Which was cool because you got to see like Method Man, Redman, like all these cool acts there.
I love
What's it called? He went up and played, and he was just this very honest, sincere guy, very clean cut. You know, didn't quite look the part, but he was like fanboying on stage, and it was cool to see. Like he's like, oh my god, I'm part of Sublime right now. And then I got to see him a year later, right at the end of the same tour. And he went from that clean-cut, awkward, funny guy to he had completely covered in tattoos. He's hanging bras up on his mic stand. Like he's got all this crazy stage presence he didn't have. And just that year just completely changed this dude. He just transformed from this clean-cut, normal guy to like, hey, I'm a fucking rock star now. I'm with Sublime.
Right.
That's just got to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'll never be in Sublime.
That ship has sailed, my friend.
Maybe I'll be part of the All-Stars one day.
Smashmouth?
You know the Long Beach All-Stars?
Somebody once told me the world was...
You know what's really sad? A whole generation thinks that is just the Shrek song.
That's depressing.
Isn't that upsetting?
Dude, we're like almost considered old. Like we're old to kids now.
Getting into those 30s, you know, it's interesting. Mm-hmm. Still feel like 22 though.
Yeah.
I look 22. Maybe even younger to some people.
You're very...
We'll keep going. I'll take anything you give me.
Your age is ambiguous. Like
yeah,
if
like
you know what I mean? Like I used to have a buddy that we're no longer on speaking terms. But you couldn't tell if this guy was 19, 35, or like 50. Like...
It's like my friend, this friend Andrew.
You know
he's
what I mean?
a
Like
dubstep artist, Tremor. A little shout out to him there. He was 15 years old when I met him. I thought he was older than me. I think I was 18 or 19. I met him, and he had a like full beard and everything. And I thought he was like older than me, everything like that. And I found out like a year into hanging out with this guy, how old he actually was. And I was like, oh shit. Like I was gonna start asking you to go get me beer soon.
God. Wait, the same Tremor that we stayed with on tour?
Tremor. Yeah. You got to meet him as well. Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that, you know, he's an example of one of those artists who he's doing it his way. He's something special, something unique, and he'll never give up his style, his genre to please other people, which a lot of bands do. I'm not against it. But yeah, he's one of those examples of someone who's just he's doing it his way, and it's like it's my way or the highway kind of thing.
What's your perspective on bands that go through transformations? Bands that...
Let's look at Fall Out Boy real quick. So we grew up with them. You know, we know the Pete Wentz, hard to understand. There's a lot of one-liners kind of thing, and then they turn into like a rock and roll group when they get older, and a lot of people trash them for it.
I think,
and I look at it as, I'm sorry, you were like 22, 23 when you were making it big and touring and all that. You're not that age anymore. Your taste in music's going to change. Your genre is going to change, and you should embrace that. Your fans should embrace it if they're real fans. Nothing breaks my heart more than a band changing with their times and the way the band's developing by Facebook. Nothing breaks my heart more than seeing fans backlash it and hate it. But it's like, they're not going to keep playing the same simple shit that you grew up with. Like Blink-182, for example. They're able to do that. They're still playing the same style. So, they're not changing a whole lot. They're able to do the same thing, but you have to embrace it either way. Like when bands change, there's a reason they're changing. They're not doing it to make you happy. They're doing it to make them happy. And there's a difference there. I always want to do a mix of the two. Like I'll always write the songs for me and then the songs that you want to hear as well, because I know people don't always have the same taste in music.
Right.
And I think it really takes someone... It takes a lot of intelligence to recognize that. Look, you're not going to like the same thing I do, but I still want to speak to you. I still want to get my message out to you. I still want you to enjoy this.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think that our job as an artist, is to explain our truth and to have that be accepted?
Sometimes our truth is just, hey, look, we're changing. We're getting older. We're developing music this way now. This is what we're into right now. It's game over from there.
No, I mean, that's good. I mean, you want that a little bit. It's kind of like in a like a job interview when they tell you you're supposed to flip it around, ask questions, almost like interview them.
I wish I had the balls in a job interview when they ask you about your weaknesses. My go-to answer is, I'm really, really bad at group interviews. Because I'm terrible because I feel like I have to compete with the other people, and I'm a very competitive person.
Right, that was my first.
But I wish I could instead answer that with like, well, I would say my main weakness is probably fire or electricity. One of my strengths, I wish I could do that, but the other person is not going to think that's funny. It's very rare that they're going to be like, this dude's a nerd, I like him.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it depends.
But hey, maybe that's the job that you want to land.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I was like, it depends who you're interviewing for. Like, if you're interviewing for, some military defense company, they're gonna be like,
"What the fuck is this guy doing?
Get this guy out of here." But no, I remember dude. Do you remember your first interview ever?
I nailed it.
Dude, I did not.
I was so nervous going in, but I was like, you know what, Matt, you need this job. You know what my motivation was?
What was it for?
I wanted to buy a new bass amp. And I had a garage, no, not a garage sale. I did a car wash to buy my first bass. And
So
I
you
had
worked
these
at a car
friends,
wash.
these girls, it was Lindsay, Angie, and Kim, my really good, I was part of Young Life, this like Christian group. And they knew I wanted this bass and they wanted to help. So they helped me put on a car wash, and all the money went to me selfishly to buy this new instrument. But, excuse me, when I had to buy a new amp, I was like, crap, I need a job. I'm 15 years old. I can't. My parents aren't ones to give me money. They want me to work for what I want,
workforce.
and I love them for it. But it was Baskin Robbins, and it was not only Baskin Robbins, but it was Baskin Robbins / Dunkin' Donuts, over at Shea 14 for you Phoenix locals. My first job, and I went into that interview, and I owned the place. I acted like I already worked there, and it's been my motto ever since that interview is just go in there and act like you own it already. Like, that's already your job. You're already hired and you're just talking to your boss. Like, you're just having a chat. And if you treat that interview as a chat more than I need to prove myself, you're going to get that job. Any interview I've gone into where I feel like I have something to prove, I didn't get a call back. So like that first interview really taught me a lot there. And I loved that job. I mean, I was 15. I loved it. I got fired for, they thought I hooked up with another coworker in the freezer because we went into the walk-in freezer. You know what we were doing?
Everywhere.
You want to know this? Baskin Robbins doesn't know this yet. We were eating the chocolate caramel turtles that got ordered on mistake. They were delicious. But we went in there and we were eating a couple of them. We were just chatting for a minute. And I guess like management, like there was like a new management takeover and they like looked at the cameras and they saw that and they're like, our 15-year-old employees are hooking up. We need to fire them.
God, what the perverts. Could be that they're eating
I just
ice
wanted my
cream
fucking
in
chocolate.
the freezer. They're like, nah,
Come on, it's an ice cream place. Think about it. Why would two kids go into the freezer when there's ice cream?
I wonder if
We
they
wanna
like
eat the ice cream.
purposefully wouldn't hire people they thought would eat more ice cream.
They're just.
You know what I mean?
I'm not going to get into that.
I wonder if that would happen.
You weigh a little too much. We're not going to hire you.
Not going to work out. I'm sorry.
You know what?
Trust you.
I have a feeling your metabolism's really fast, and you're just going to be eating donuts all day. So I don't think it's good.
It's weightism, but no.
I learned that I
hated
hated donuts. I hated donuts and coffee while working at Dunkin' Donuts, which is really weird, especially as a Canadian. Like, we've got Tim Hortons, and you're supposed to love the combination, but like donuts and coffee don't work together for me. I'll have a beer and coffee. That sounds good.
Interesting.
Or a coffee and a bagel maybe, but I just think the sweet donut doesn't complement very well.
It's a little weird, especially when it gets soggy.
And like, if you have a cup of coffee and a donut in the morning, you're fucking wired. You're gonna have a sugar crash, caffeine crash at like 1 o'clock.
Right. That's why
No, thank you.
Going.
This is what I talk about when I ramble on in podcasts. Just making my
you
own.
need to calm down, Matt. You need to calm
Fucking
down.
relax here. You lock it up.
Lock it up now. But no, man. Well, that's interesting. My first interview did not go so well. It was for Nike, and I
didn't do it.
Have the right clothes. I didn't have the right mindset going in, and I did not do it.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it at
It was
all.
Nike,
It was a group interview, and it's like everyone stood up, and they had to greet the customer. Pretty simple. That's hey, what did you say?
I'm Chris. How are you?
Little 15-year-old Chris, and I was just so
15-year-old Chris must have been cute.
I was just so nervous, and I was awkward as fuck. I was like, an emo jock kid, and
You went through the emo phase. Did you
Oh,
have
for
black
sure.
hair? Did you ever dye your hair black?
no, I
You
didn't
never
dye.
went through the full emo phase.
I wore the same jacket every day, my junior, sophomore, and
We'll
junior
let
year.
it slide.
Yeah.
I remember I got to the
those
point
guys.
of like, I was never depressed. You know, I was never in that scene from being actually emo. You know, like what it actually is. I thought it was a fun scene to be a part of, and you know, I didn't paint my nails black, but I did these really cool little black lines that went up my, and you know, people made fun of me for it. But what I was actually doing is it was when I was learning how to play bass. It was to make sure my fingers were always looking up and in the
Sure.
right form. It was
Sure
to
it
make
was.
sure that my structure, you know, my hands were there doing the right thing rather than just fucking, I don't know, like going claw hand on the bass or something weird.
Right.
I got a little bit of trash talk and it just made me want to do it more. You know, dyed the hair black with my friend John. That yeah, it was fun. Good times there. And then I tried to bleach my hair. That looked awful. Looked like a dirty Q-tip. Gingers
That was
should
the thing,
never
though.
ever bleach their hair. Please just listen to me, any ginger out there. Don't bleach your hair. Just accept the fact that your red hair is stealing souls, and that's where you are in life.
God. Do you remember that? Do you remember when that went viral? When that was the thing?
Fucking South Park.
Yeah, man. That just ruined redhead kids' lives.
I loved
my
it.
best friend.
Even
You
blame
met
Canada.
You met Taylor. He like that was a legit discriminatory
yeah.
thing. It was fucked up. Like
Some
I
people
remember-
took it seriously. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean nobody likes to be felt inferior in any way.
Well,
and I think that as a white dude having red hair is like one of the only
The only time you can really get made fun of as a white guy.
yeah, one of the
That's why I embrace it.
right
Because
we're privileged.
It's really hard to say as a white guy, but I love anyone who's racist towards me because I'm white, because like I don't get to feel it very often, and it's like okay, like now I can partially understand how the other guy feels when, you know, someone else is just being fucking stupid and racist towards them. Like at least I get a small taste here and there being a ginger.
I think it's important.
It's a very small taste, you
Well,
know. But
in all seriousness, I think it's important because I feel like if you don't experience that feeling of you don't belong or there's something wrong with you just for being you, it's hard to relate.
you know that blue
to-
eye experiment that they did?
No.
So Jane
do you know what I-
something.
do you know
I
what I
can't
mean?
remember the professor's name, but she did this with like a group of kids, where she said that the blue-eyed kids were better than the brown-eyed kids in her class one day, and it was this big exercise, and they started being racist towards. I mean, not really a race, but they started being prejudiced against the kids
I
with the
remember
brown
that as a
eyes in
kid.
that
We
class.
did that in class. We
Yeah,
did that. I
and then
remember
the
that
next
was, like,
day
a
they
part
did
of
the brown.
curriculum.
Oh, actually, the brown eyes are better. And then you see it turn the other way. You see these third graders who were a family 2 days ago start turning on each other. It's like, oh fuck, like this is real. This can happen. And I'm kind of blind to it because I see straight through all that stuff. You know, I take a person for who they are.
Right.
And I don't care where you come from. I don't want to say you have to prove something to me, but like you be you, and I'll decide if I like you or not. I don't care where you come from or what, you know, what makes you you. I just you know, be a real person, be honest, be transparent.
Right, but I think that because that experiment, I did the same thing when I was in
I
school.
didn't get to do
I think
it.
it was like second or third grade or something like that when they did it for us. But I hope that they're still doing that, and I feel like every adult needs to go through that again because I remember I was dating an Asian girl at the time, and we went to the like Asian supermarket, and it was just all imported, really amazing food and like just incredible stuff from like Japan and, you know, Korea and you know, Philippines, just like all of this like just Asian culture. And I was like the only white dude, and that was a really unique experience because I was
Yeah.
like walking with her. She's Vietnamese, and
But see, us
There
being
was-
white, we
it-
embrace it.
well, no,
Whereas,
no,
like-
let me finish.
Okay.
So
Okay.
no, but that feeling when you're walking and you walk past someone and they look at you, and it's like this quick, like eye thing, or they're like, you can see in their eyes they're questioning,
Like,
what
why are you here?
Why
Yeah.
are you here? And I feel like that feeling of not belonging is how a lot of other minorities and a lot of other people feel every day, and it's called microaggressions, and they're just little things that happen to people that aren't a straight white male, that, you know, it exists, and that's a part of, you know, our culture. And I think that it's gotten a lot better But
Yeah.
I think it's really important for people to understand, as a straight white dude, that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that, you know, not everyone gets to experience. And I think they can go off on a tangent like the far right.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and it's a lot of it just has that inability to understand. They don't have empathy. They can't put themselves in the other person's shoes.
Yeah, and I've been there. I mean, when I was in my first couple of years of university before I dropped out, I later returned everybody. So it's good to finish school if you start. If you don't start, there's other things to do. But if you start, make sure you finish. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. But when I was first in university, I was dating a Filipina, girl. And going to any of their family events, I was always the only white dude. And see, like I was saying a minute ago, I embraced it because it felt nice to understand how it feels to be the only one not in that culture and to not understand a culture and to be welcomed into it, though. Mm-hmm. To have them like, you know, hey, try these desserts, try these dishes. And as much as some of them I hated, I always pretended like, oh, you know, oh, this is good. Oh, this was awful. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Right.
But like experiencing different cultures, I think is a big thing. And I think that if a lot of these, let's just look at Americans, because I think we're really good at ignoring the rest of the world being in this country, but let's just ignore what's going on for a second and look at Americans. I feel like if Americans were more traveled, if they would go experience other cultures and go see what it's like to be the minority, for some of these white people or for some of these really well-educated people who've never been outside of their, you know, outside of the suburbs, to go see what it's like in different areas of the world, because I think it will really break that tension, that racism, that sexism. I think that a lot of those barriers get broken down. I mean, when I moved to Australia, I learned a lot of racism that was going on there that I didn't even think about between them and the Aboriginals. Not to mention that they weren't even considered real people until I think the 70s or something crazy. Like you could go hunting and go kill like these perfectly nice people who I would meet.
That's fucking crazy. What the fuck?
But like
really?
we're in our own bubble over here in the US, and like we look
awful.
at sexism and racism, you know, we look at the Me Too movement, the Black Lives movement, like we look at all this stuff going on, but like it's nothing if you look at it worldwide. There's so much more to it, and I think that we're kind of selfish in keeping it so local and so personal.
Well,
there's a lot to learn by just going out of your comfort zone. And I think if more people did it, a lot of these, I don't want to say these movements wouldn't be necessary, but they wouldn't be as big. They wouldn't be as important, as bad as that sounds, if people would just go get culture and go realize what it's like to be on the other end of that.
But you got to understand too that the ability to travel and to be educated is another huge part of the problem.
I disagree.
Is that
I totally disagree with this. So I grew up in a household where we were, I don't want to say the poorest family in the richest neighborhood, but kind of close to that. Like my family always did what they could to get us in the best school districts, right? So I was never given money from my parents. I had to always work for it. So I never thought I could travel out of the country. I never thought I could do anything more than the day-to-day, getting by, doing my hobby, doing music, as, you know, trying to make a career out of it. Until my friend was just like, hey, dude, want to go to Australia with me? I'll pay for your passport. You just got to figure it out from there. And I go to this country with $20 in my pocket. No idea what I'm doing. And I learned, like, okay, yeah, granted, I'm white, so it might be a little different. But I go into this culture I've never been in. I'm hearing accents I've never heard. I'm meeting people from all over the world. And I found a way to make enough money where I could start supporting myself, start growing enough to, like, go travel other places of the world. And it was something that I never thought was possible. I didn't think I could achieve that until I just went and did it and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to leave everything I have behind and just go try this.
right.
And it went from, I was supposed to be there a couple months to almost 2 years until I ended up meeting my now wife. Like, it's just crazy how that all came together there. But I would definitely say for anyone who has never considered it, who thinks they're not able to, just go do it. Go travel somewhere. Go somewhere that sounds interesting.
No, that's a great message, and I agree with you 100%. The only thing that I don't agree with is that, you know, when you're struggling to put food on the table every day, and when you're surrounded by other people that are just selling drugs, and it's just a horrible situation, and you're trapped in this neighborhood because you don't really know life outside of that.
I left my job. I met my
Yeah,
I left
dude,
my
you don't
girlfriend.
understand.
I left my family.
Dude,
like
but
I left everything.
You got to tread
but
lightly here.
I still had a little bit more than most people have. I still was stable on where I was when I left.
Yeah.
And I do think you have to realize, like, if you do make that leap, you're going to leave everything. Like, you are going to leave a big gap of your life behind. But if you want it and it's something you're even considering, just do what you can to make it happen. If you fail, you fail. Like, it's okay to fail.
All of the white people need to go and travel as much so they can be less
two white kids talking crap about white people.
Yeah, exactly. Go out there,
man.
travel, white people. Yeah, grow some empathy.
No, I mean, it goes out to everybody. You know, it's just easier to relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, before we sign off here, I would like to know 2 things.
Oh, shit.
1, what would you like to promote? Here's the opportunity to plug something that you're involved in. And then 2, tell everyone your rad message.
A rad message. I like that. I'm going to have to think about that while I ramble about, my personal life as I do. Really, right now, what I'm most excited about is getting through the summer. And what I mean by that is getting No Refills, the new music out there. Getting prepared for what's coming next, the next tour, the next album release, this music video we're about to do. We have a lot of exciting things going on. And if you haven't heard the album we released, it's only a month old. Like, it came out in April. Like, it's not that old yet. There's still a lot of people who don't even know it's there. Go listen to it. No strings attached. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere you want to be. It's something fun that we put our hearts in, and we didn't, we wanted to put something out there that sounded different from what No Refills was, because we're changing a lot. We want people to recognize that even these next few songs that we're about to release that we're excited about, they're so different. They're fun. They're their own thing. And it kind of goes along those lines of like what I was talking about with Fall Out Boy. Like, we're changing our music based on what we like, what we're listening to at the time. And it's going to be something special. I'm really excited to keep releasing more music with this band, and see where the rest of this year takes us. And I guess really it's just prepping for the next tour, getting ready to go back out there and be a scumbag again, be dirty, take a couple of weeks off of my job and just try to survive. Yeah, it's a fun life.
Right on, man.
Rad message I couldn't get to. I'm thinking about it, but there's all kinds of messages that I can give out there, like, struggling with, depression and drugs and all this different stuff. I lost a friend the day before I went to tour to the same sort of stuff, and there's always someone willing to listen. If you think there's no one listening to you, then you're wrong. And I know you don't want to hear that you're wrong, but you are. There's always someone who's going to care. There's always someone that's there for you. And I think really what I'm trying to get at is we need to get out of our own heads sometimes and look at the, what's around us and the support system we have, because what we have right now is so much more than what we would have had 1,000 years ago. The support systems, the technology, everything we have going around us. Like, yeah, sure, there's bullying, there's bad shit out there, there's gun violence, but don't let that get in the way of what you want to do. Like, we're here in a special time. There's a lot going around. So just kind of, live every day like it's the first chance you have to live it. Not like it's your last day, but like it's the first day that you have to live. That's my rad advice for the day.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's rad. Hey, it's been a pleasure having you on, Matty B.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for tuning into the K-Rad Radio Podcast, your source of anything and everything rad. And we're signing off. Have a great night, everyone.
Out of here.